If we look at the top 10 tech companies in the world, we will find that most of these companies are from US, like Apple, Microsoft and Alphabet, and a few from Asia, like TSMC, Tencent and Samsung. But no one is from Europe. In fact, in the top 50 tech companies list, you will see only 3 companies from Europe, ASML, SAP and Schneider Electric. And all other companies are from these 2 continents only, North America and Asia. So the question is that why the most developed continent of the world is lagging behind in tech? If we look into history, this has not always been the case, and Europe had a strong hold in tech. For example, the Finnish company Nokia was one of the biggest names in the mobile phone industry. However, due to its laid-back culture and not adopting the changes on time, Nokia could not hold its position, and other players like Apple and Samsung grabbed the market share. The same happened with the Dutch company Philips. There was a time when Philips was one of the largest electronics companies, but after reaching at top, it lost its place and sold its business to many other companies. Apart from this, there were many other well-known brands like German company Siemens, French company Alcatel and Swedish companies Skype, Minecraft and Ericsson. But interestingly, all of these companies either went out of business or were acquired by other US and Asian companies. If we see today the top 5 companies in the US, Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon and Nvidia account for more than $9 trillion of market capitalization. The top 5 companies from China, Tencent, Alibaba, Pinduoduo, Meituan and NetEase have a market cap of almost $900 billion. But the top 5 companies in Europe, ASML, SAP, Schneider Electric, ARM Holdings and NXP Semiconductors combined have a market cap of less than $600 billion, which is significantly less. So while the US and Asia are innovating in tech, why is one of the richest continents on earth is falling behind in technology? Let's look at the reasons. The first reason why Europe is lagging in tech is Europe's tough regulations. Europe has the most complex regulations for tech than many other growing economies. For example, tech companies have to pay high taxes, which prevents many startups from scaling up. Recently, many European countries have imposed a digital services tax to target tech giants like Apple, Amazon and Alphabet. This resulted in increased cost for the customers who are using these services. After these taxes, Apple increased the developer fees for the App Store. Google has also increased the advertisement fees. These kind of regulations are making it difficult for many European tech startups to gain traction and grow. Also, Europe has the most strict data protection laws. Their GDPR or General Data Protection Regulation creates limitations for the tech companies to expand into the new areas. The recent ban on ChatGPT in Italy is one such example. And now other European countries are also going into this direction and banning OpenAI and ChatGPT. This not only limits the opportunities with OpenAI but also restricts the growth in AI and creates barriers for the small companies to scale with AI. The second reason is the lack of funding and investment. Europe's venture capital is not as mature as it is in US and other Asian countries. The investors don't want to take risk and invest in any new tech. And that is why startups either get shut down because of a lack of capital or get acquired by big companies from US. For example, Skype and Minecraft both were acquired by Microsoft and eventually merged with the big tech. Europe's population is more than double as compared to the US. But still, Europe attracts 3 times less funding than US. If we look at the AI and blockchain sector only, the European Union accounts for only 7% of the investment, and the US and China account for 80%. This brings us to the third reason, the brain drain phenomena, which refers to the relocation of skilled people to other parts of the world. Due to the strict laws and unavailability of funding at the initial stage, a lot of talent is moving to the US, which is a tech hub for innovation. In US, early stage companies get funding as well as mentoring from the industry leaders. Companies like Data IKU, Algolia, Caribia and Aircall have shifted their headquarters to the US. In fact, in the last decade only, 40 out of 147 unicorns in Europe have relocated their headquarters outside of Europe. And it's a big number. As per Julien Lemoine, the co-founder of Algolia, the move accelerated our growth in 2 ways: to raise money at better terms and attract more customers to our service. Do you remember Spotify? And do you think that it would have grown this big to compete with Apple, Amazon and Google without coming to US? Another good example is DeepMind, another great European company. In 2014, Google acquired DeepMind and it was moved to the US. It was then merged with Google Brain and is now recognized as the subsidiary of Google's parent company Alphabet. The next reason is the fragmented European market. Europe comprises of 44 different countries with different cultures, languages, and regulations. This fragmentation makes it challenging for European tech startups to expand, as compared to the US and China that has the same language and regulations across the country. According to a report, only 8% of European startups have successfully expanded to more than 3 countries in Europe. This diversity makes it challenging for tech startups to scale. The next important reason is the cultural differences. Europeans are generally more risk-averse as compared to the US and Asian people. Their preference goes with the safer career options while valuing future security over individual risk-taking. In the US, risk-taking and failure both are learning opportunities, and people wear them as a badge. But Europe does not go with this spirit, and it is a big reason for the small startup culture. This culture is reflected in their venture capital landscape as well, and that is why European tech startups receive less funding than the US and Asian startups. When it comes to tech, people in Europe always choose the safer option. For them, more technology means more problems to handle, whereas the US and China are more explorative with the tech. The recent advancements in the AI and semiconductor industry are such examples. Although it sparked the tensions between the two countries, but it shows that how much they value tech and know its impact. And finally, the sixth reason, the lack of tech culture. Although Europe is home to world's best colleges and universities, and there is no lack of monetary resources and education, but the policies and practices do not promote a tech environment. For example, due to strict employee protection laws, many startups are not able to hire and fire employees independently. Usually, tech companies in their initial stage have to rotate the tech talent, but companies are forced to comply with the labor laws in Europe. Whereas in the US, the labor laws are not that strict, which gives companies a free hand to experiment and bring new products to the market. According to Frank Slootman, the CEO of Snowflake, Silicon Valley founders had a huge advantage over their European counterparts because America had fewer legal protections for workers. Also, if you see, European governments have strict laws about privacy. Although it's good for their people, but at some level it restricts the growth. For example, the recent Digital Service Act will hold online platforms legally accountable for the content posted on their apps. It also banned targeted advertising and also imposed online platforms to provide more transparency on how their algorithms work. Right now, this law is for 19 big tech companies from all over the world, but slowly it will be rolled out to the small companies as well, which will again restrict the growth of startups in Europe. So, these were the few reasons that why Europe is lagging in tech. But it does not mean that the EU is not doing anything or not promoting the growth in the technology sector. There is the EU's Horizon Europe Research and Innovation Program that aims to fund research and innovation projects across various sectors. There are many other initiatives to foster innovation and growth in the tech industry. The European Commission's Digital Single Market Strategy aims to remove regulatory barriers and create a unified digital market, allowing tech companies to scale more effectively. Let us know what you think. If Europe will be able to catch up with the US and China in the tech and get their glory back? Let us know in the comments below. And definitely subscribe to the channel. This is an extremely small channel and your support will help me with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you.